This is Hnos the Sport, bringing you that heat, that fart. We keeping the foot on the what on the next. We keeping the foot on the what on the next. And like the Tibetan Mastiff that I am, I'm applying what unlimited pressure. Because pressure does what? It bursts its pipes. Let's talk about it, man. Richie Rich, what's up, man? Talk to the people.
Up, he knows, man. How's it going? Been a good week. Hopefully, you had a good week. Hopefully, you all in the chat had a good week. Got some really good topics. And we're gonna lay it down for y'all this on this show today. So tune in, hear what we got to say, man. Give some of your viewpoints on what we got to say. Keep this thing live today. Let's
Yep,
get to it.
yep. Let's get on to it, man. First things first, first topic up. As you know, Jason Tatum, man, and Kobe Bryant. 2018, July 2018, they had the workout. Jason Tatum let everybody know at that point that Kobe Bean Bryant doesn't make you basketball deficient. He makes you basketball proficient. Let me say it again. He doesn't make you basketball deficient. He makes you basketball proficient. Jason Tatum alluded that he learned skills. We saw that from the last year into the next year. His field goal percentage went up 5 to 6%. We saw that Jason Tatum's game took itself to the next level. And so much so that LeBron James gave him a freaking nickname. You recall what the nickname was, Richie Rich?
Nah, I don't know what nickname LeBron gave him.
Well, I'm
What
gonna
was
tell
his
you right now.
nickname?
I'm gonna tell you right now. He had an original nickname that didn't go well. He was tagged, you know, originally as the Young King, but he became the problem. That was the nickname that he was given. And the reason why he was given that nickname is because everybody that played against Jason Tatum, he was a problem for them. If you go and you look at Jason Tatum's shooting ability, you look at how he puts the ball on the floor, you look at how he does his turnaround shots, you look at how he does his fadeaways, you look at how he posts up, you look at how he turns around, you look at how he basically tries to do up and unders, you know, bait the defense, use his feet to fill the defense. All of those things were things that Kobe Bryant taught him. And see, what people have to understand is basketball has a hierarchy. We talk about this hierarchy all the time on the show. We talk about preserving the standards of basketball because this is what's happening. A lot of people are not preserving the standards of basketball. Jason Tatum's footwork is a Mamba mentality or Mamba Academy legacy, man. When we look at Kyrie Irving and what the way that Kyrie Irving is able to put the ball on the floor, Mamba Academy, Mamba mentality legacy. And then when we look at Kawhi Leonard and Kevin Durant, the higher level, high octane alphas on the basketball court, these are what we call Mamba legacy or Mamba mentality academy level types of players. But Jason Tatum's game has improved exponentially because what Kobe Bryant was teaching Jason Tatum is how to make the game come to you. Don't chase the game. This was the same message that Michael Jordan passed on to Kobe Bean Bryant. Do not force the game. Let the game come to you. This is what it means when it says fill the defense with your legs. Because when you're telling the defense to fill, when you're telling the person to fill the defense with your legs, the reason why that's so important is because if you fill the defense with your legs, you feel where the defense is going. And you can dictate not only where the defense is going from your standpoint when you say fill the defense with your legs, you can also know what the defense is doing from the whole team aspect. The reason why is because when you are the central piece, right, in the triangle offense, the offense thrives and it derives around you. You're the centerpiece. So if you're filling the defense with your leg, you're essentially filling what the defense is doing, not only for you, but everyone else around you. This is what Jordan meant when he said this to Kobe Bryant. This went over a lot of people's heads because a lot of people thought that Jordan was just giving Kobe Bryant an individual talk as it relates to his individual game. No, this was an overall assessment that Jordan was giving Kobe Bryant on how you look at defenses and how you feel defenses, not only from you being able to get your shots off and making the game easier for yourself, but also how your team in the triangle offense can get their shots off as well too. Because if you can feel the defense with your legs and you're the superior player, you can be able to communicate that also to the teammates on how the defense is operating on the basketball court so that you can come up with an offensive scheme within the triangle offense to supplant or dominate that defense. This is what Michael Jordan passed on to Kobe. This is what Kobe Bryant passed on to the Jason Tatums of the world. When you look at Jason Tatum's game and you see his evolution, you see that July 2018 was basically him taking the mental notepads out, the Black Mamba mental notepads, and getting to the damn mental scribbling. And we see it. So what is Jason Tatum doing now to showcase that he's still understanding that he's all about the Mamba mentality and all about the Mamba legacy? Well, Kobe's not here anymore, so he can't get the physical conversation. You know what he's been doing as of late? He's been going back to that workout, and he's been watching clips of the workout. And he's been basically making sure that it marinates in his corpus callosum, marinating his medulla oblongata, marinating his cerebellum so that he can continue to implement those things that Kobe Bryant taught him. It's these little finite details. Because what people have to understand is at the elite level, it's all about the finite details in terms of making the game easy for you. What people don't understand and they underrate Kobe on is Kobe Bryant made sure that the defense was at his mercy. This is what, when we used to watch the detail, right, on ESPN, and Kobe Bryant would break some things down, it used to go over a lot of people's heads because they just didn't understand basketball at that level. But if you understand basketball at that level, you understand what Kobe was talking about. You remember when Kobe Bryant talked about how James Harden plays isolated basketball and how because he plays that isolation game, it's not going to work because Kobe Bryant knows from experience. He had to go 3+ years in video game mode where he had no choice but to play that way. It's not that he wanted to play that way, but when you're playing with the Shmush Parkers of the world and you're playing with the Kwame Browns of the world, how else can you play other than just you have to dominate the basketball? And there's a misconception with Kobe Bryant when they say that Kobe Bryant just likes to just take the ball, jack it up, and Kobe Bryant doesn't like to get people involved. It doesn't work like that. Kobe Bryant's game is predicated upon trust. He's a totalitarian. He's a disciplinarian on the basketball court. And he's a dictator. And in so much so that he has to trust you. You have to earn his trust for him to give you the ball. This ain't going to be no wasted goods. Lamar Odom got his skill set to the level. Kobe Bryant got Lamar Odom's skill set to a level to where he could trust him in key moments and key situations, and he would give him the basketball. Paul Gasol. See, a lot of people say that LeBron James makes his teammates better around him. But men lie, women lie, numbers don't. This is what Jay-Z told us, man. Men lie, women lie, numbers don't. And what did the numbers tell us about Kobe Bryant? You realize that Paul Gasol had his best and most gaudiest stats with the Los Angeles Lakers. Compare his stats with the Lakers and compare his stats with the Grizzlies. You're going to say it's a things that make you say, Lamar Odom had his best stats with the Los Angeles Lakers. See, this is the misconception that they tell you about Kobe Bryant. But you got to earn Kobe Bryant's trust for you to get touches. Guys like Sasha Vujacic, Jordan Farmar, these guys would have been lame ducks anywhere else. Shannon Browns of the world. Kobe Bryant was able to take these guys and take them to the next level. So when it's all said and done, we have to ask ourselves these questions with Kobe B. Bryant, the slam dunk giant. And the ultimate question that we have to ask ourselves is, this guy right here, his game, his legacy, and what it means to the game of basketball, you see it in Jason Tatum because Jason Tatum's game has evolved. This could have been the same for Ben Simmons, but guess what? Kobe's not here no more. So when Kobe told Ben Simmons, I'm going to try to fix your broke-ass jumper, he took it some type of way. See, this is the problem with this Rudy Poo and Plum brain. Classic Doden Troglodyte, ultra fanboy with the ultra fanboy rhetoric generation. They can't take criticism, man. They are a participation award era generation. And you know who gave them this? It was LeBron James. LeBron bought this participation award era nonsense where you just arrive to the party. You don't have to do no heavyweight lifting. You just do whatever you got to do just to get to the dance. But Kobe Bryant had standards. And everyone that has been infected, everyone that has ingratiated themselves, and everyone that has ingrained and indoctrinated themselves via the Mamba mentality and the Mamba Academy, look at how their game has evolved exponentially. Kawhi Leonard is a perfect example of that. If Kawhi Leonard did not go to the Mamba Academy, he wouldn't have won that championship that he did with the Toronto Raptors. Did you not see how his game evolved from a turnaround jumping standpoint? Did you not see how his game evolved from a mid-range game standpoint? Did you not see how his game evolved from being able to put the ball on the floor standpoint? This is what Kobe Bryant brings. He brings greatness personification can only be hindered. It can't be stopped. But nevertheless, it's greatness personification. Not this LeBron James greatness mimication, meaning you mimicking greatness. You're not greatness. So when we look at Kobe Bryant and we look at his impact on Jason Tatum, all we have to sit there and say is it's a things that make you say, hmm. It's a things that make you say, hmm. So all Jason Tatum got to do is continue to study the information and the downloaded information that Kobe Bryant gave him. And if he continues to do that, then he will continue to be a problem in this NBA league. What is your take on this, man?
Yeah, Jason Tatum, man, he's definitely one of the up and coming guys, and you could definitely see how uh, him going to train under Kobe's tutelage has improved his game. We didn't really see this until last season when he started to break out, and you started to notice that he was going to be a problem. He was reeling off 30-point games like it was nothing, and he was going at some of the NBA's best players, and he was showing these guys out. You know what I'm saying? And it's all because of Kobe's tutelage, because you saw how Jason Tatum's game evolved. You saw the footwork, how he was able to create separation with his footwork, how he would improve his shot selection through the mid range. Kobe helped him become a better mid range shooter, uh, choosing his shot selection better, uh, just learning how to have a better feel for the game, like you were talking about. And Jason Tatum had a breakout year last year. Now it's about putting that get to all together and having some success in the postseason with it now. And you can see it. He's still a very young player, and I believe he's going to get to where he needs to get to. Sorry about that. He knows. Eventually, Jason Tatum is going to get to where he needs to get to. Yeah, Jason Tatum is going to get to where he needs to get to, um, and he's going to be able to reach a level of at a point to where he's going to be an impact in this league to come. But it's going to take some time, and the Celtics, they're going to have to keep figuring out a way to improve that basketball team, because him and Jaylen Brown, they're a great tandem in the league. So you can already see that so far going into the season. These guys are doing some damage so far in the season. And Jason Tatum, he's a guy. It wasn't just him. It was Devin Booker. He also trained under Kobe Bryant. You also notice Jamal Murray. That's the young class that's coming up into the league. These are the guys that they looked at Kobe as the perfect role model. And they went to go train under Kobe. Those are the young guys that trained under Kobe Bryant. And the guys that are like the guys that are in like the late 20s, 30s, like Kawhi, Paul George, these guys also trained under Kobe as well. But they don't have Kobe's mindset. Kawhi they don't really have Kobe's mindset. You know what I'm saying? This is why we got to look at this younger generation now to see who's really going to be that guy to take on that Kobe mindset, to where he was a true killer on the court. Like Kawhi Leonard, he's a quiet, he's a docile guy. Paul George, he looks too laid back at times. It's the reason why those guys, they're not really consistent. You know, with success like that. Paul George hasn't really tasted success. Kawhi has, so I'm not gonna put PG on Kawhi's level. But Kawhi, he looks like a guy that's he's just too quiet. He doesn't really bring out that consistency that Kobe brought out. And Kobe was always trying to kill you on the court. Kawhi, he trained under Kobe, but he doesn't have Kobe's demeanor. Uh, Jason Tatum, I'm starting to see that he wants to take on that mentality where he wants to be a killer on the court. He already had two situations where they looked at him where it was against Milwaukee and it was against Detroit where they relied on Jason Tatum to hit the game winning shots. And he didn't run away from the situation. He took on the challenge. He took those shots and he won. He won those games. Jason Tatum is turning into that player that's becoming a killer that wants to take that shot at the end, that wants to be that guy to help his team overcome and win a game. So I'm paying attention to Jason Tatum, man, because I'm starting to see last season I was starting to see that maturation in his game, and I really started to see like what Kobe was teaching him. The year before that, you could see that he was still struggling with it, and he was still trying to figure out how to put it all together. But last season, he was starting to put it all together. This year, now he's more comfortable, a lot more comfortable, and he's a guy that's going to do some serious damage, especially in the clutch moments. Because now you see it when Giannis was in front of him. The guys that were guarding him were Giannis and Blake Griffin. How he was able to get separation on both those guys, and he hit that dagger in both their faces. He's
Yep.
becoming that guy where uh, he's gonna have a counter move now. If you're trying to defend him
Mm-hmm.
in those type of situations, he has a counter move to get free. Just like Kobe, how he was able to get free. You remember that one game winner that Kobe had on Dwayne Wade.
Yep.
It was against when he hit that crazy shot on Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade was on Kobe. He was draped on Kobe. But Kobe did this move where he was able to he juked Dwayne Wade and then he got free and then he hit that shot off one leg and then it
I
hit
remember.
it hit the backboard and it went in. I was like, how Kobe was able to get that shot off is because the footwork. Kobe was able to fake stun D-Wade for that moment and he
Yep.
was able to get a great look off. I'm starting to see that in Jason Tatum's game. He can get that separation just off using a move with his leg, and he can create space between him and the defender and get a great shot off. You know,
Yep.
so I'm excited to see how that kid continues to work on his game. Now it's about how Boston Celtics can get to the next level. They were in the playoffs with the Heat in the bubble. The Heat were able to beat them, but now I think that if they face the Heat or if they face another team in the postseason, they're going to be a nightmare to deal with, especially with the addition of Tristan Thompson. He's a guy
Mm-hmm.
who's going to give that team toughness. He's going to give that team second chance opportunities. He's a tough player, man. You acquire a guy like that, you're gonna you teams are gonna have to fight against you. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Last year they had Bam Adebayo who was a problem for them. I think Tristan Thompson negates Bam Adebayo because he's gonna make Adebayo work for everything, and he's gonna give Jason Tatum great chances, uh, second chance opportunities. Boston, they're definitely gonna be a team for teams to watch out for. And if you're a fan of the Boston Celtics, that's a team to be excited for because they look good so far. And they're doing this without Kemba Walker, and you can see the maturation between Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. These guys look like they're ready to make the
Facts.
next leap.
It's facts, man. And I'm glad that you said that because we got to segue into the next topic. James Harden, because I feel like we need to talk about this. James Harden is stuck on women and on putting on weight and not upping his game by accepting the fact that he's a third option role or six man of the year role with the Brooklyn Nets. Now, to me, I feel that James Harden's success is going to be thrive upon him being with the Brooklyn Nets. The reason being is because a lot of people are sleeping on this. They don't understand that James Harden, his best ability in basketball was with OKC. I keep going back to those OKC days because I've watched James Harden throughout his career. And James Harden did the most heavyweight lifting when he was a third wheel with the Oklahoma City Thunder. He's already proven that he can play as a third wheel behind a dominant small forward slash whatever you want to call it, because Kevin Durant is 7 feet. And, I mean, this guy's literally a center, 50, 40, 90 walking gazelle, runs the floor like damn near faster than your locomotive point guard. It's like a Superman on the basketball court, right? Then you have Russell Westbrook, an actual point guard. So we've seen this before where he's had all of this going on, all of these nuances going on, and yet at the same time, he's been successful. The pedigree's been there. And the bottom line is when we sit here, we look at Russell Westbrook and we look at Kevin Durant and we look at James Harden, we can ask ourselves an underlying question. What we've learned from that. And what we've learned from that is if he's in that third option where the pressure is not on him, or if you guys remember, the Oklahoma City Thunder used to play sets where they used to have James Harden come off the bench and be a six-man. He thrived. This is where James Harden eats his meat the most because now he doesn't have to worry about the pressure of being number one. And then at the same time, he could do what he does best, heavyweight lifting in terms of giving a resurgence to the offense. And he could pick up on the offense where it's lacking, especially now with Spencer Dinwiddie going down. We know Karis LeVert has stepped up. He's dropping about 18 points per game. He's doing his thing. But what people got to understand is in basketball, some of our parts, you can only trust them as far as you can see them. Let me say it again. You can only trust them as far as you can see them. You need that bona fide scorer. You need that bona fide person that can put the ball on the floor. This is the dynamic that James Harden provides if he doesn't provide anything else. This is why he's a perfect fit for where Brooklyn is at. And if James Harden bends the effing knee, kiss the ring while he's at it, and understands that Kevin Durant is the guy that he needs to fall up under, he's going to have a productive career the rest of his NBA career. But if he stays with the Houston Rockets, engages in the lascivious ways that he's engaging into, and then at the same time, also not dedicating himself to his craft, I'm sorry to say this, man. What you're going to see from James Harden is the consistency of what you've been seeing, which is a Tony Romo, a.k.a. Zab Judah iteration of him as a basketball player. James Harden's best meat, and I could argue this down with anybody, is his time with the Oklahoma City Thunder. There's a reason why James Harden was able to thrive the way he was, because James Harden is not a person that handles pressure well. So when you're dealing with a player that doesn't handle pressure well, he doesn't need to be your number one option. And he damn sure don't need to be your number two option, because what people got to understand is number two option has to deal with some pressure too. You want to know what the pressure is? The number two option has to deal with the fact that if the number one option at times is off, right, and the number one option is not doing what they're supposed to, sometimes it's incumbent upon the number two option to deliver the goods. James Harden can't even be trusted with that responsibility. Because anytime you put James Harden in pressurized situations, what you've gotten is a Tony Romo, a.k.a. Zab Judah iteration of a basketball player. So where James Harden will thrive is in a Horace Grant type of role. Where James Harden will thrive is in a six-man of the year type of role. That role is perfectly outlined for him with the Brooklyn Nets. There's no other team where he can fit in that role because Kyrie Irving is a point guard that is gracious, contrary to what people think. Kyrie Irving will give you the ball if you know how to put the ball in the damn hoop. And Kevin Durant is, since we've seen any other superstar, since we've seen in NBA history, Kevin Durant can play off of the basketball. This is what's unique about him. He can drop 40 off of the basketball. So clearly, James Harden can fit seamlessly with a team like that. When people say, oh, well, he's not going to fit, how? Kevin Durant don't need the ball to be efficient. Kevin Durant can play in any offense. And Kyrie Irving is a gracious point guard. He proved this when he played with LeBron James, and he's proving it when he's playing with Kevin Durant. So how is he not proving it? So what's your take on James Harden? Do you feel that Brooklyn is the right fit for him? And if not, which team is the right fit for him? And what do you think I got to say about the James Harden topic?
Well, I mean, James Harden, I agree with you in the fact that he's not a first option guy because he's had the opportunity to prove that, and he's blundered in these playoffs for the past 6, 7 seasons. Playing on the Houston Rockets, man, and
Mm-hmm.
he's been given his opportunity, and he hasn't come. The chickens has come to roost. Now I believe he came into camp out of shape. And those pictures of him partying with the baby, he was all doing that just to try to get traded, man. You could tell when an athlete, they just don't care, give a crap anymore, and they just are doing this, to try to bring in some bad publicity or make the owner and management, force a trade because they're seeing that the player don't care anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But James Harden, he's a talented guy. He's a guy that can put the ball on the floor, score, create for others, but his game is flawed because he takes errant shots. You know, his game is pretty much predicated on trying to bait the referees to call fouls, and he doesn't play any defense. He doesn't play a lick of defense out there. So he hurts his team, man, in instances of the game, especially important moments of the game. It's the reason why he's shown that he can't do anything in the clutch. But he's definitely a talented guy. He's a guy who can be used as a decoy. He could be a problem if he's utilized the right way. If he's not used as the first option, if he's like a third option player, I wouldn't even put him as number two because he can't. You see how with Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson, Klay Thompson could cover for Stephen Curry, and he can defend. He can guard Curry's guy. Curry can't has a tough matchup at the guard position. Klay Thompson can actually fill in and guard Stephen Curry's guy. Uh, James Harden can't guard a soul out there, man. You know what I'm saying? He could score with the best of them, but he takes bad shot. He falls in love with that step back 3-point shot. That is a bad shot, and it's cost him a lot of times in games because he goes into a funk where he just can't hit that shot. He wants to continue to keep doing it, and he can't make that shot. He's hurt his team
Exactly.
more times than he can count. Also, you know, I don't know if the Brooklyn Nets are going to be able to deal for him because that Spencer Dinwiddie injury, man, has hurt what the Nets can offer now. So they would have to have a third team get involved, but it would be interesting who they would send out and who they would take in just to acquire James Harden. I mean, the trade can be done, but it's about finding a third team and what the Nets would have to give up. Would they have to give up the farm for James Harden to where they really don't have no pieces? It's just Kyrie Irving, James, and Kevin Durant, and a bunch of bodies that they're throwing out there with them. I don't know if I like that. The talent is a talent, but you know, is it really a good thing to be so top and heavy? Obviously, you look at that team and you would be like, okay, this is a team we're gonna put together for next year to win a championship because we don't know if we got reliable role players around these guys, to actually make it through to win a championship. So we would look forward to next season. I don't know if because these guys would still have to get a timing down and learn how to play with each other, especially
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie and Harden. So a championship wouldn't be expected, but the media would put a lot of pressure on them uh, especially seeing that they actually had the balls to go and make a move for James Harden to pair with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. But I wouldn't put the pressure on because I know what they would have. They wouldn't really have nothing because they're gonna have to give up a lot to go to acquire him because the Rockets are gonna ask for a king's ransom. Uh, but I don't think it gets done because Spencer Dinwiddie, if he was still playing, if he was still out there on the floor, a trade like that is possible. But Karis LeVert, they would ask for Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, but they're gonna there's not really anything else on that roster that would attract the Houston Rockets to make a trade like that. So I'm looking at possibly the Miami Heat. If because the Heat, they look kind of different this year. They look like they're missing something. Maybe what James Harden does is he takes Jimmy Butler off the ball. Jimmy Butler don't have to be on the ball like he is, and he's able to do more things because Jimmy is known as a two-way player out there. Jimmy can attack from other parts on the court. You can let James Harden run the ball. Run the rock and create for others while Jimmy, picks his spots and he could play. He could be focused more on being a lockdown guy. He doesn't have to be the guy that's on the ball like he's been, and he doesn't have to be the guy that's asked to guard the best player because you saw it in the bubble. It was taxing for Jimmy to be the guy that be the creator for others, be a guy that score, and asked to be the guy to guard LeBron James. Uh, that was taxing. You saw how it weared on him as the series played on. So acquiring James Harden would be really good for the Miami Heat because now you got a bona fide scorer. I like Dragic. I like what he's doing. But Dragic, he's up there in age, and he's not really that player that could, like really like get that team to that championship level where they were a championship team now, but let's face it, they weren't really going to beat the Lakers. They weren't favored. They would have made things interesting, but they weren't going to beat the Miami Heat. They weren't going to beat the Los Angeles Lakers. Sorry about that. So the the Miami Heat, they're at an impasse now because now Boston Celtics got better. Well, like I mentioned before, they acquired Tristan Thompson. They got a guy that could counter Bam Adebayo now, that could make him work. So the Heat, they have to get somebody that could counter that move. Uh, Obviously, Bam Adebayo is going to be going against Tristan Thompson. Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown got better. So now it's going to be Jimmy Butler going up against those two. Who you got for as a running mate with Jimmy to go up against Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown? They gotta go. They gotta go snatch James Harden from the Houston Rockets. Now it's gonna be Jimmy, James Harden, and Bam Adebayo versus Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and Tristan Thompson. And they're gonna have Kemba Walker coming back. So, it that if the Heat can do something, and the Heat they haven't looked so good so far starting the season. They're barely beating teams or they're losing the teams. So they look like they gotta make something happen. The Nets, that would be interesting, but I don't know if it happens because Spencer Dim when he went down, so they don't really have the assets, and they gave up some assets to acquire, what's his name, DeAndre Jordan, and Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant allowed himself to be traded over there. You know what I'm saying? So a team I see James Harden would good on is the Miami Heat, and they would get him in shape. Like we talked about in a few shows ago, Pat Riley wouldn't play with that. Pat Riley and Eric Spoelstra, they would get James Harden in the best shape of his life, and he would actually have to play defense on that team. So I think that would be a great move for James Harden if he was to go. If he because he included Miami Heat as one of his destinations, so that would be a great move for him because they would get him dedicated to playing basketball. They will get him. It will be a disciplined atmosphere. You don't want him going somewhere where he thinks he can do anything he wants to do, like the Houston Rockets, have allowed for so many years. He needs to go to a franchise that's going to be a no-nonsense franchise. Their goal is winning, man. Their goal is winning basketball games, getting to a finals, and winning that. You know what I'm saying? So the Heat would probably be the best destination after the Nets. But the Nets is when we look at the Nets, would they be ready to win in that same season? Because they're gonna lose a lot. They're gonna lose a lot of assets and players that they existing players that they have. So I wouldn't put the pressure of them winning in that same season. We would have to look forward to next season.
You make some great points. But here's my thing. The reason why clearly the Miami Heat is not going to work is because of the fact that James Harden has proven that he's not willing to be disciplined under the tutelage of the Miami Heat. You're right. He would be a perfect fit with Jimmy Butler, but there was two things that I feel that I needed to interject on. The first one that you mentioned when you said Jimmy Butler is too much for him. This is the problem with this watered down generation of basketball players. And I think even you now start starting to succumb to it. Basketball players were two-way players. All of that, James Harden's feeling so much pressure on the defensive end, that's bullshit. Kobe Bryant had to pay both Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant and Scottie Pippen role. He did that shit efficiently for years until his body wore out. He didn't complain about it. So what is this watered down generation nonsense that it's too much for Jimmy Butler on the defensive end? I don't want to hear that nonsense, man. I'm sorry. I'm cut from the MJ, KB, 2-4 school. These dudes had to guard the best player on the basketball court on the opposite side of the ball, and then they had to score and bust you for 40 or 50. So are you starting to get watered down, dog? I mean, you sitting here saying it's too much for Jimmy Butler. That sounds like an excuse for me.
Bro, you know I'm cut from the same cloth you cut from. I'm
So
from that generation.
What you talking right now?
These players like to complain a lot. Yeah, I'm putting it in context of how these players move around in this era.
I'm glad you clarified that, dog. I'm glad you clarified that because, listen, man, this is the problem with these watered down generation folks. They want a player to be so offensively dominant, and I'm glad Richie Rich clarified it. But then they want him to be defensively pedestrian, or they want help. Basketball used to just be two superstars and then the sum of all parts. Now, because of LeBron James, we need 3 superstars. We need 4 superstars. Listen, man, we don't need all of that. You just need 2 elite basketball players. You need a durable number 3, and then you have your sum of all parts. That's it. This is how you win championships, man. James Harden is not an elite basketball player. He's what you call your durable number 3. That's what he is. And I know this is hard line truths that people don't want to hear, but that's what James Harden is. I've dissected his basketball career, and I could argue this shit down with anybody. He is a durable number 3. He can't touch the number 2 option. He can't touch the number 1 option. Because if he touch any one of those, he's going to mess it up, and he's going to mess it up badly. He has to be a number 3 option, man. That's what he has to be, a 6th man of the year. James Harden would be the greatest 6th man of the year ever, if he knew his true potential. James Harden, lucky he never met me in person, because I would tell him, just like I would tell LeBron James to his face, you're a fraud, James. You're the greatest liar the NBA's ever seen. You're a guff of folk, greatest finals failure of all time. I'll tell these basketball the truth. I'll tell these basketball players the truth to their damn face, and I wouldn't care. And dare them to do something before I fold them up like a damn pretzel. Care about their height. Care about their damn height. Who care about their damn height? Shoot, all you gotta do is put them in a suplex, boy. You better ask somebody. Listen, man, James Harden is very simple. You are a 3rd option. That's what you are at your truest and your most properest levels. A 3rd option. A 6th man of the year. Accept your role. Know your place with that. LeBron James, you are a guff of folk, greatest finals failure of all time. Understand that you really serve yourself as a high-octane Scottie Pippen. That's what LeBron James is, man. He's a high-octane Scottie Pippen if he's being honest with himself. See, people don't be honest with these basketball players. Damian Lillard, pure beta supreme on the basketball court. Probably one of the highest level pure beta supremes because he don't play defense. At least James Harden could shuffle his feet somewhat. James Harden don't play no defense, but he could shuffle his feet somewhat. He has some defensive mechanics. And don't get me started on Stephen Curry. He's not what people think that he is. Stephen Curry smoke and mirrors on the basketball court, man. This is the problem. Y'all succumb to these basketball players when you guys have been given the Michael Jeffrey Jordans of the world. You've been given the Kobe Bean Bryants of the world. And then we come down to lukewarm, watered-down version of the NBA. This is the most watered-down version of the NBA we've ever seen in the history of the sport. That's why I laugh when people say these players are bigger, stronger, fat. Where? You put Dennis Rodman on any one of these fools, he locks them down. Am I lying, Richie Rich? They say they bigger, stronger, faster. Dennis Rodman will lock any of these fools down. You put Karl Malone on any one of these guys, he will outmuscle them. So I don't understand this bigger, stronger, faster nonsense. Any one of these guys can check Patrick Ewing. When Patrick Ewing's dropping a 16-foot, don't get me started. Akeem Olajuwon will embarrass a lot of these big men, man. He will foot fade away them like nobody's business, but they bigger, stronger, fast. This is why I say my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge. They don't know basketball, man. They don't know it. They've never taken the time out to understand the history of basketball that was put before them, the foundations that these pristine forefathers laid out before them. So this whole nonsense about Jimmy Butler and he need help, no. That's why you're a two-way player. Make sure you have the physical wherewithals. Make sure you have the physical abilities. Make sure your ass is in perfect peak condition and in shape to do what you got to do. Do you guys remember a guy named Rip Hamilton? Do you know the level of condition that Rip Hamilton was in to do those screens? Don't get me started, man. These basketball players are lazy, man. They lazy, man. Chauncey Billups, for him to be big shot Billups, do you know that Chauncey Billups is the only player that can argue that he has a winning percentage against Michael Jeffrey Jordan, Kobe Bean Bryant, and LeBron James? Now that's some NBA encyclopedia for your ass. Do you guys know that? These NBA players are lazy now, man. Paul Pierce has ramalang LeBron James so many times. That's why they called him the truth. These basketball players are lazy nowadays. Scottie Pippen, do you understand the level of conditioning that Scottie Pippen was in? Scottie Pippen would check you 96 feet all game, 48 minutes. And the reason why I bring up Kobe Bean Bryant is because Kobe had to play a dual role. People forget this stuff, man. Kobe was Geppetto. He had to guard the likes of T-Mac. Do you understand the level of offensive wherewithal that T-Mac was on the basketball court? Do you understand the offensive wherewithal that Vince Carter was on the back? This is what Kobe was locking down, dog, in fourth quarters. Don't get me started, man. Kobe's defense was so elite, he was locking down even Iverson, man. Don't get me started. When Iverson was going off, Phil Jackson was like, hey, game 2, who they put on Allen Iverson? Kobe, dog. Kobe said, hell no, I'm locking this dude up. This is what basketball used to be about, man. Lock his ass up. Let me get on him, dog. Let me play on-ball defense. Whatever happened to that, man? And now they want to make excuses and say that these guys that are supposed two-way players, they're not even playing two-way play. Why do you think I like Kawhi Leonard so much? Why do you think I'm ready to ether and anybody that got anything to say about Kawhi? Because Kawhi plays defense, the likes that we haven't seen since Scottie Pippen. He shuffles his feet, man. He keeps his hand active, and he's athletic. And when Kawhi is on Kawhi and the claw's on the claw, everybody getting locked down, man. Everybody getting locked down. This is what people don't understand, Richie Rich. When we talk this basketball, we talk it at the highest levels. There's no platform that talk basketball the way we talk basketball because we judge this thing at the highest levels. We ain't got time. We got standards over here, man. We ain't got time to water down nothing. If you sat here and celebrated LeBron James's 2020 NBA Finals, you need to check your basketball knowledge. Now, I don't care who you are. You need to check it at the damn door because you shouldn't have celebrated it because that was a bubble damn title. That was a Mickey Mouse damn title. That was a fraudulent, fluky, on-the-spot NBA title. That was a least path of resistance NBA title. It was an NBA pickup game. And if you were saying that, you should have kept that same energy all the way through and through, line upon line and precept upon precept. We keep standards over here, man. We don't succumb to the nonsense. Richie Rich got me started with that Jimmy Butler. I didn't want to hear that, dog. Even though it wasn't him that was saying, I don't want to hear that. When you're a two-way player, I expect you to go to the moon and back. Like you're supposed to be locking cats down and dropping 40 at the same time. No excuses, man. No excuses. If we expecting this from Kawhi Leonard, then damn it, Jimmy Butler, we expecting it from you too. But you know why? I understand the contextualized version of what Richie Rich was talking about. Jimmy Butler wasn't complaining because I saw what he was doing in that bubble. He still tried to take on that whole Los Angeles Lakers by himself. This is why you know LeBron James is a fraud. Because LeBron James went 6 games with a Bam Adebayo list and a Goran Dragic list. And what's that other white boy, man? Because he wasn't playing too. His ass was injured too.
Duncan Robinson?
No. The rookie. His name slipped off my tongue. His ass was injured too.
Didn't he play?
on the Miami Heat. Yeah, he played, but he missed some games too. This is what Jimmy Butler was playing with, man. Injured players, and took LeBron James to 6 in a bubble. A least path of resistance. Tyler Hero. There you go. You in Florida, man. You supposed to be telling me. It's supposed to be coming out your head. Tyler Hero. This is what I'm trying to tell people. This is what I'm trying to tell people. They played with injury-less players, and they pushed the Los Angeles Lakers to 6 games. And we had LeBron James and Anthony Davis celebrating like nobody's business. This is about the worst, most pathetic excuse for basketball I've ever seen. That's why He Knows the Sport got in Genghis Khan got activated, man. Warpath mode got activated because we saw a whole bunch of secret LeBron tards come out the woodworks. And I wasn't having that, not on my watch. I eated and murked every last one of them. I was not having it. It was not going to happen on my watch. And look at them now. They scattering like la cucarachas, la cucarachas. Yo no puedo caminar. La cucarachas, la cucarachas. Yo no puedo caminar. They scattering like freaking cockroaches because they knew He Knows the Sport was coming with that unlimited pressure. That's why they done calm that damn noise down. I made sure of that. If I got to take it on my back and single-handedly calm some noise down, you guys know my power. I will do it because I wasn't going to allow that fraud of an NBA title to get and give it credibility. That's not going to happen. This is a laughing stock. This is why I tell you guys, with generations to come, they're going to laugh at you guys, man. Because you guys think you know basketball. You have a similitude of basketball knowledge, but you lack the fullness thereof. There is nobody out there holding the standards, dog. They're not upholding the standards of basketball. They succumbing to this nonsense. Stephen Curry dropped 62 points. Now we segue into the next topic. Because you know I'm going to flame Stephen Curry's ass. I've been wanting to flame his ass on a damn live. I'm going to flame him right now. He dropped 62 points on a freaking pure beta supreme Damian Lillard and CJ McCollum. You know what they've said, Richie Rich? Oh, it was the greatest feat we've seen. You playing against a defensive pedestrian team. So what are you doing that's prominent here? But you know Bradley Beal dropped 60 points, right? On a Philadelphia 76ers team that was defensively responsible. And you see, I dropped that video. You see what I always do? I always do switch and bait. Did anybody talk about Bradley Beal 60? Yeah, it wasn't a loss, but he dropped it on a team that was defensively responsible. But yet, Stephen Curry dropped 62. And then they want to sit here and go, ooh, Stephen Curry. Get out of here, man. This is what Stephen Curry does. He scores on teams that don't play no damn defense. Now, if he would have done this on some damn Los Angeles Clippers, where he would have dropped 62 on Kawhi Leonard, now that would have been something that would have been impressive. And then Stephen A. Smith want to come in the other day, Richie Rich, and I had to fact check him. He said that Stephen Curry dropped 92 points in 67 minutes. We haven't never seen this before in basketball. Are you freaking kidding me? March 16, 2007, Kobe dropped 65. March 18, 2007, Kobe dropped 50. March 22, 2007, Kobe dropped 60. March 23, 2007, Kobe dropped 50. Do the math. That's 225 points in 4 straight games. That's over 50 plus points per game. So what are you talking about, man? And in those 2 games, Kobe dropped 115. Now, last time I did my math, 115 minus 92. Isn't that a 23-point differential, Richie Rich? Come on, man. So what are you talking about, Stephen A. Smith? Are you having Alzheimer's? Are you having dementia? I know you're getting up there in age, dude. Are you suffering from any one of those? It's the things that make you say, It's the things that make you say, My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, man. They don't study their NBA history. So you can't expect anything that they say to sound anything of relevancy, man. 92 points in 67 minutes. Kobe Bryant did 115. So what are you talking about? Go ahead, Richie Rich. They done fired me up, man.
I mean, Stephen Curry, he's been exposed, because he's one of those players. He's benefited from playing with the defensive rule changes that they brought into the NBA after 1990. So where a lot of these guards, especially these guards, man, that are that can score now. Because back then, a lot of point there weren't really a lot of point guards in the NBA that were like scoring guards like that. It's because the defenses were a lot better, and these guys they know they would get their knocked on their ass if they tried to go to the rim, like
Mm-hmm.
that, or try to be a scoring option. I remember one time when Isaiah Thomas got knocked out by Karl Malone. Karl Malone
Mm-hmm.
gave him an elbow, and this dude was bleeding profusely, man, out of his. He gave Isaiah Thomas a really bad cut above his eye, just to make Isaiah Thomas think twice about driving it to the rim. It's especially, seeing Stephen Curry and seeing what a lot of these other guards can do nowadays because they've made they've decreased defensive abilities in the game, and they've increased the offensive ability in the game. They've allowed players the the ability to be more successful offensively on the court, and they've taken away from the defense, like hand checking, uh, a center being able to stand inside the paint longer than 5 seconds. He can actually stand there as long as he wanted.
Yep.
Illegal defense was still in the game. Like you can't have, but legal defense was still in the game. But
Yep.
they didn't switch things up to where now you can't guard guys a certain way. You can't put your hands on them. Uh, and they allow these teams on offense to have a lot of illegal screens, a lot more illegal screens. So
Mm-hmm.
players like Curry can be free to do what he wants and hit shots that he
Exactly.
wants. You like when you notice it, they don't really call these illegal screens or these illegal picks. They allow because they want that a guy like Curry to do what he wants to do out there.
Mm-hmm.
Curry, you saw how he got exposed when in the finals. Well, a couple seasons ago when they played the Raptors, when they threw the box in one defense
Yep.
on him, or the year where
Yep.
the Cavs were able to get their revenge, where they were being physical on Curry, and Curry he didn't look like himself because physical defense was being played on him. They were throwing Amon Shumpert and J.R. Smith on him, and they were allowing these guys to get a little physical with Curry. Curry couldn't take it, man.
Yep.
Curry likes that lax defense where he has that space and he could hit his
Yep.
shot, But
Yep.
we defenses respect Curry's shot now. This is why they defend him the way they defend him. They're trying to pick him up half court, or they're throwing a shade type of defense on him. But Curry can't get around playing physical defense. That's his problem, and it really
Mm-hmm.
exposes him as a player that okay. Because you saw the defense. Another example when they won their finals against the Cavs in 2015,
There
Matthew
you go.
Dellavedova, when he was allowed to play that defense on him one-on-one, this man shut down Curry 4 games out of those 6 games in the finals, man. And it really exposed Curry, man. Like if you put a physical defender on this guy's gonna have issues. Curry was supposed to win that Finals MVP in those finals, but yet Iguodala had to save their ass, and
Yep.
he took the mantle of defending LeBron James and taking out LeBron in that series, and he stepped up offensively in that
Mm-hmm.
series to help the Warriors get the nod over the Cavs. If Iguodala
Mm-hmm.
didn't do what he did, the Warriors would have lost those finals because Curry
Exactly.
couldn't figure things out against Dellavedova. Dellavedova had
Yep.
this dude confused out there, and it
Yep.
exposed Curry that you
Yep.
know the ball was in Curry's court to actually go out there and ball out on a second rate player and Matthew
Mm-hmm.
Dellavedova, but he
And
couldn't
got
do it,
locked
man.
down, dog.
He got locked down in that series, and that kind of raised LeBron's eyes up. Like, damn, we lost to a team with their best player, with a guy on my team locking up their best player. If I would have
Mm-hmm.
had Kyrie Irving and Kevin Love, we probably would have won this series.
Yep.
And you saw what happened the year after. Curry allowed LeBron to get that ring on him, and
Yep.
Curry had issues scoring again when they put physical defense on him.
Yep.
Curry, he's a phenomenal talent, man. The things that he's done out there.
Man, Curry is
Uh,
Curry is like our older brother say, man, and it's the truth. This is Haitian Creole. We say it. Fuck that. That means he's garbage, dog. Curry is garbage. I'm
I
sorry,
mean,
man. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it all out. I don't care if anybody tell me He knows you don't went too far. Curry is garbage, man. You don't get locked down by no damn Matthew Dellavedova. That don't happen. When I saw that, I said, "Oh, this guy's not what people say he is." Matthew Dellavedova? Come on, man.
Yeah, I
Isaiah
mean,
Thomas was clowning him, dog. Isaiah Thomas was like, "What?" You didn't hear Gary Payton that year? Gary Payton said, "Man, if that dude could lock down Stephen Curry, could you imagine if it was me on him? He'd be
yeah,
going to
yeah.
cry to his mama.
I
He'd
remember when
go cry to
TP
his
said that.
mama."
That Curry should have. All Curry could do was he hoped a series like that never happened because
Gideon,
it
oh,
really
hold on,
exposed
Richard.
his
Let me say
game.
this. Gideon, I don't care if you don't agree. Curry's garbage to me, man. I don't care if you don't agree. Remember, what I say is absolute and resolute. He's garbage to me because you can't sit here and get locked down by Matthew Dellavedova for 4 out of 6 games. Do the math on that. You know your fraction? Do you even know your fraction? You know what 4 out of 6 is? It took Steve Kerr to have to yell, "Are you Chef Curry with the pot?" for him to go out there and dominate. It took until game 4. Come on, man. That's garbage. Matthew Dellavedova, just listen to that, man. Could you imagine if that was Kyrie Irving or Derrick Rose, real point guards, and they had a Dellavedova on them? They would treat Dellavedova like a redheaded
Yeah,
stepchild. Don't even get me started. Don't get me started, man.
I just think Curry's game is not predicated to having physical defenders be draped on him. He can't handle that. So
Mm-hmm.
when guys are playing that type of defense on him, he's gonna have issues. It's gonna bother his game,
Yep.
and that really showed in that series, and we've seen it uh, uh, after that as well. The series against the Cavs when they were
Yep.
back in the finals, and the finals uh, against the Raptors. When they were throwing that box and one, he couldn't figure it out. He was missing
Yep.
shots,
Yep.
turning over the basketball, putting his team in a bad position, man. So Curry, man, he's a phenomenal player doing what he does out there, being able to go hit those 3-point shots at the because this man has shot 2,000 3-point shots and he's
I
hit them
don't
at a
care about that.
40% clip.
I don't care about that.
I've never seen a player
Because
done that
you know why I don't care about that, Richie Rich? I don't care about that because that don't mean nothing. That's smoke and mirrors material right there. And it's
Well, I
because he's
mean,
been given free license to chack up the 3-point shot. Curry don't even take the right shot in basketball. Do you guys realize that you live and you die by the 3-point shot? Why do you think they lost to the 2016 to the Cavs? Because he lived and he died by the damn 3-point shot. I get it, Gideon. You probably a Bay Area fanatic. And on Bay Area folks, they gonna feel some type of way when I say this stuff. But Stephen Curry is not what you think he is, man. He's smoking mirrors on the basketball court. Once he got locked down, I watched that finals that Richie Rich was talking about. When he got locked down by Matthew Dellavedova, I said, "Oh, this guy right here, man. This guy right here, what my brother was talking about, he's right. This guy's garbage. How you getting locked down by Dellavedova? This is what you guys don't understand. This generation of basketball is watered down, man. These basketball players that you guys call stars, if they were playing in that previous generation, they'd be lucky if they made the bench. Don't get me started, man. They'll be lucky if they made the bench, man. That's how dominant those
the
previous
thing.
eras
Like
were.
people were saying, people would make these weird, crazy comments about when the Warriors won the 73 games. They would be able to compete with the Bulls, man. Just imagine. Let's not even mention Scottie Pippen being put on Stephen Curry. Randy Brown, man. You remember the type of feisty defender this guy was? Imagine a guy like that being put on Stephen Curry. They just like when they tell the pit bulls, man, sick them. They sick Randy Brown on Stephen Curry, man. Stephen Curry would be complaining every damn time, man, that he brings the ball down the court because Randy Brown was a feisty defender. He was feisty as they come. That dude stuck to you like glue, man.
Yep.
And Stephen Curry wouldn't be able to have no separate. He wouldn't be able to have no space. Now we could talk about Scottie Pippen. Scottie Pippen would be ripping up Stephen Curry. You see how Stephen Curry like playing around with the ball. Scottie would be ripping that dribble up. He'll be snatching them balls up. Jordan would be going in there sneaking, because you remember when Jordan and Pippen they double team you and they
Mm-hmm.
put that hellified defense on you and they just take that ball Jordan will be sneaking in, snatching that ball from Curry, man, playing
Mm-hmm.
around with the ball too much. They would lock up that 73 win Golden State team. I hear people talk about what Klay Thompson would struggle in that series, man, because Klay Thompson is not a guy who could put the ball on the floor like that. You know, it'd be easier for Jordan to shut him down. You just gonna be a spot up guy. Okay, Jordan wouldn't have to work like that on the defensive end. Rodman, man, listen, let's not even mention Rodman with Draymond Green. Draymond wouldn't want that. He wouldn't want that smoke. Okay, you wouldn't want that. Draymond Green is not no punk. He ain't scared, but he ain't crazy. Rodman is crazy. When you got to deal with crazy, you don't want to mess with crazy because you don't know what crazy gonna do out there. Even Shaq, he had Shaq scared one time because Shaq didn't know what Rodman was gonna do to him, man. And Shaq talked about that. He's like, Rodman is, you know how Rodman was crazy? Because Rodman came at me and I didn't know what he was gonna do. He got a 7-footer. He got the diesel out here scared, man, thinking what this dude gonna do to me, man. That's what crazy does. Draymond wouldn't want that.
Mm-hmm. My people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, man. Gideon, you can have your opinion. Remember, everybody opinion is like an asshole. Everyone has one, man. I'm telling you the truth. See, this is the difference between an opinion and the truth, because the truth can be verified. It can be quantified, calculated, and it can be something that you can look at. Stephen Curry is not what people think that he is. All you need to do is look at the 2015 NBA Finals, and you will be mad at Stephen Curry. Just watch the first 4 games, and you will be mad. And I was mad because I was rooting for this guy. If this guy was going to give me a lifeline for me to give him the Hkhs Sports certification, it was that year. And Richie Rich will tell you, I'm like, what the heck? Why is this guy getting shut down by Matthew? That's when I realized, okay, he don't handle pressure well. And then Matthew Dellavedova realized it himself. So Matthew Dellavedova just was getting in his head. Matthew Dellavedova was employing old school basketball tactics on Stephen Curry. And it was working, man. It was working like nobody's business. And you know what happened after game 4? You know how Stephen Curry got free? The referees got involved. Go look at game 5. They started calling calls in Stephen Curry's favor to give him a chance, to give him a reprieve, because Matthew Dellavedova was just too suffocating for this guy. And then Matthew Dellavedova started falling out. That's how they won the series, man. And then Iguodala. How does Andre Iguodala of all people, win the Finals MVP? That told me everything I needed to know about Stephen Curry, man. Everything. You couldn't keep Draymond Green in check. This guy right here benefited off of the Splash Brothers. So don't get me started on Stephen Curry, man. When people sit here and say Stephen Curry this, Stephen Curry that, no, I don't see what you guys see, man. I really don't. But again, and like Hkhs Sports always told you guys, maybe my basketball standards are too high, or maybe you can't keep up, man. Because we have standards over here. Standards. I'm spoiled, man. I got a chance to see the greatness of Michael Jeffrey Jordan, and I got a chance to see the greatness of Kobe Bean Bryant. I'm sorry, man. that level messed me up, because if I see anything that don't even mimic it in any shred, any ounce, any decency of it, you get inflamed. Why do you think I like Kevin Durant? Because Kevin Durant is a product of those guys. Not to that level, but he's the next tier product of it. Kawhi Leonard, next tier product of it. Underneath Kevin Durant, though. Kyrie Irving, these guys, they fall under that mold. The way that Kyrie Irving bailed LeBron James out, safety blanket like nobody's business. This is what people don't want to talk about, man. You guys get caught up in these basketball players. Luka Doncic, smoke and mirrors too, because he don't play defense. If you don't play defense, then you already off of Hkhs Sports standard. If you don't play defense, I'm not even looking your way. Because you got to play 2 ways, man. Especially when people are touting you at that elite level like that. You got to be a 2-way player. If you just dominate the basketball on one side of the floor, I don't got time to deal with you. Because you know what it tells me? It tells me you're limited. So it tells me when the postseason come around, the real NBA season, you're going to get exposed. That's what happened to Luka Doncic in a bubble last year. What did Kawhi Leonard do to him? He put the claw on his ass. Because that's what happens to these one-sided players. They are limited, man. And that's what people got to understand. Now, this other thing with Stephen Curry, and I got to say this. The only thing where I'm going to give Stephen Curry credit was when Stephen Curry realized his inferiority to Derrick Rose's superiority. And we got to talk about this because we segue into the next topic. That was the one thing Stephen Curry said why I gave him credit, but then I had to shoot him right back down because Stephen A came up with that 92.67 minute nonsense. I had to kill that quick because I had to fact check him. But anyways, the only thing that Stephen Curry said out of his mouth or his being or his existence that made sense was Derrick Rose was not human. And Richie Rich, I'm gonna give you the floor because you was the one that put me on Derrick Rose, dog. Teach these cats about D Rose, man. Pre-injury, what was D Rose all about? Because people don't remember it was him and Kevin Durant that they was talking about, dog.
Hey, man, Derrick Rose, man, that boy was a beast, man. He was a special player in how he was able to uh, put that speed and that the way he contorted his body, man, just the way that he played the game. Like you looked at Derrick Rose, man, like this dude, man, he's gonna be one of the up and coming players. It was gonna be him and Kevin Durant, and Derrick Rose was, a special player at the point guard position because he was able to impact the Bulls so much. Being a guy that played on a team that it was like another Iverson situation where this guy is carrying, a bunch of guys on that team, and he's getting them, deep into the postseason off his abilities alone. You know what I'm saying? But the injury happened, and then Derrick Rose wasn't the same, man. But pre-injury, man, Derrick Rose was a beast. He was one of the best players in the game. He was the youngest MVP to ever win that MVP award because he carried that Bulls to 60 plus wins that season. People was hating on him. They were saying that LeBron James deserved to win that award, but that was the first year LeBron went to go play with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, and he had all that help. And they were saying that, okay, D Rose, how the hell you give back Durant's MVP? It's like they caught quick hate for D Rose because they saw him as a threat to what the
Mm-hmm.
Heat was what the Heat was about to do in the Eastern Conference. But the Bulls, they had to improve that team. I
Yep.
believe if they improved that team, Derrick Rose would have been able to get the nod over the Heat. But it was because LeBron was teamed up with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. He had
Mm-hmm.
that edge over D Rose and the Bulls, man. Because when you put their teams together, uh, the Bulls didn't have the pieces. They were a good, hard nosed, fought team. We always seen it. We've seen it many years. We see a phenomenal player, talented player on a roster that can play defense, can rebound, that could cut out games, but they can't get to the finals. They can't win because you're just relying solely on that one guy. You know,
Facts.
uh, but you're not gonna get over the hump because you don't have the right personnel. And the Bulls, man, they didn't do a great job with how they handled Derrick Rose. They they didn't want to get talent on that team for some reason. I don't know what they were doing. Derrick
Yep.
Rose. I remember when LeBron James in 2010. They were saying why Derrick Rose didn't want to team up with LeBron. He didn't want that guy over there to come in the team. I'm pretty sure he would have welcomed Dwayne Wade if Dwayne Wade decided to go over there. But he didn't want LeBron because he knew what LeBron was going to try to do. And LeBron was, and Derrick Rose is one of those players. He wants, to be mentioned up there with the greats, and LeBron's gonna take away from that. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
he didn't want LeBron to go over to that team. Pretty much. But it was all about management, man. Management was being cheap. Jerry Reinsdorf, they really didn't want to build up that team, and they were worried about profits. They saw Derrick Rose as a guy. Okay, he could keep butts in the seats. We could keep this thing going as long, even if we don't get to the finals or we don't do anything spectacular. Derrick Rose is going to continue to bring profits in, and that's how they view. They're one of those franchises. They didn't care about winning anymore, and
Yep.
and that's what led to D Rose's demise. They had him out there doing too much, and eventually his those injuries. He couldn't evade those injuries. Uh, so it was messed up what happened to Derrick Rose, man. Derrick Rose it's like the whole Grant Hill situation. the Penny Hardaway situation, man. Like great players that we knew they were on the up they were on the uptrend, but they were robbed by injuries, man, and they were never the same after those injuries. And there are players that what if those guys never had those injuries? We're always pondering, man. And Derrick Rose, we saw how special he was because this guy had ridiculous athleticism from the point guard position. He's about 6'2", 6'3", but able to play like a 6'6" guard, able to dunk on anybody.
Yep.
Faster. Derrick Rose was fast. I believe this dude was running about a 4.2, 4.1. That's how fast D Rose is. He had otherworldly athleticism,
Mm-hmm.
otherworldly contortion with his body. Man, that dude was ridiculous. The type. I just go watch those old Derrick Rose videos, man, when he was with the Bulls, and
Mm.
go look at what that dude was doing as a member of the Bull back in his days, man. That Russell Westbrook would try to imitate what D Rose would do, but he couldn't do it, man. Nobody
Yeah.
was doing what D Rose was doing.
Yeah.
That's the type of athleticism you like, man. Yeah, this dude is not human, man. Because how
Mm-hmm.
can this dude have so much control on his body, be able to wiggle himself through defenders like that, and he's going 100 miles per hour? It was ridiculous, man.
I want you to
Maybe
say
that's
what
not.
Gideon is saying here. Address these, and then you can get back to your points.
Oh yeah, I don't understand. I believe that led to the injury, but Tibbs always goes back to okay, Derrick Rose, he was out for a while, so he wanted Derrick Rose to continue to play to build his body back up. That was an excuse. I mean, it's not a bad thing for Tibbs to do. Maybe he wants D Rose to get his win back because Derrick Rose, that was that year, that lockout year when Derrick Rose kept getting injured and he was missing games. And a coach, he wants his players to get into a rhythm because they're in the playoffs now. So the restriction is off. I remember watching that game. The restriction was off, and Derrick Rose, he wanted Derrick Rose to still play more, but
Mm-hmm.
Derrick Rose did that crazy move, man, and his body wasn't ready for it, and he
Mm-hmm.
tore his ACL. And I remember there's videos online about how Derrick Rose landed or how he jumped off a leg. And Derrick Rose, man, he was violent to his body. I'm not gonna lie. What he was doing out there was otherworldly, but he was violent to his body because he didn't land properly. And the way that he came, he would always jump off the wrong foot. Like these dudes that do that Euro step or they do that extra step and they jump off the wrong foot. Derrick would do that a lot, and it would put a lot of pressure on his tendons, man. And he even mentions that, like he says that he played a certain way, man, where injury was going to be inevitable, and
But I think
unfortunately,
I
he
think the reason why he played that way and it was unconventional because he knew that way was not a conventional. They weren't conventional basketball moves. So because they weren't conventional basketball moves, he couldn't be stopped.
exactly, the
How
type
could
of
you account for his lack of convention? You see what I'm saying?
yeah.
And he
I
was the
remember,
first one. He was the first one that Kobe Bryant called a bad boy. The people forget that,
yeah.
dog. He was the very first
Listen,
one.
man,
My goodness.
because Derrick Rose was an explosive player. He's like one of those players. Like, I mean, you see the Bulls. You look at the role players. They had Luol Deng. They had guys that were scrappy guys, but they were like a boring team to watch before D Rose got there. When he got there, that first year where he took the Boston Celtics to 7 games, that team that had Paul Pierce, Ray Allen, KG, that boy was single handedly pushed that series to 7 games. They had no answer for him. He was out there giving Rajon Rondo the business, man. They were like, "What? How are we gonna stop this kid?" You know what I'm saying? But Boston won that series because there was a couple clutch shots from Ray Allen and Paul Pierce. And they those guys were clutch shooters. They were able to close out that series, but they had no answer for D Rose, man. D Rose ripped them in a new one, man. And then you saw the MVP D Rose the year after, man. That boy, man, we got robbed, man. We got
Yes.
robbed, man. We got robbed, man. That's
Hey,
what. That,
Richie Rich letting out all his emotions. Richie Rich is like about to cry, dog. He was robbed of
Yeah,
that player of his, dog. He
I
was
was robbed of
robbed.
that player. That used to be my player, man. I was robbed of D Rose, bro, at his
Man.
peak. You
Woo.
know?
Hey, man, D
NBA
Rose was
was
so
robbed, man.
phenomenal. D Rose was so phenomenal because Richie Rich would be like, man, he knows. Hey, I need you to check this dude out, man, because I know you won't. If he passed your test, your eye test, it's over. She showed me a clip of this kid, just like he showed me a clip of D Wade. I was like, okay, who the heck is that in Miami, dog? Who the heck is that? I watched D Wade for 5 seconds. You got to pass my test, dog. I done told you guys, I'm the final authority on basketball. You got to pass my test. I looked at D Wade for 5 seconds. I was like, okay, yeah, that dude right there, MIA, Dade County boy, Wade County. And then I looked at Derrick Rose for 5 seconds. I said, oh, this dude gonna be a problem. He gonna be a nightmare, and he's gonna cause a whirlwind because his change of directions. Let me tell you what made Derrick Rose so lethal. Just when you thought you had Derrick Rose, he would change the direction right on you. And just when you think you got him again, I would see him do this amongst defenses. He would come back and re-change the direction again. This dude changed directions on you. I've seen games where he changed the direction. They put the whole 5 team on him. I mean, all 5 guys, and he changed the direction on all 5 of them and got the layup off. I was like, gosh. And the way that he it's like he knew how to put his body in first. You know how you have a stick shift vehicle? And you know how you go first gear, second gear, third. Derrick Rose was like that. He knew how to go in second gear. He knew how to go in third. Kyrie Irving is like a watered down, poor man's version of Derrick Rose minus the athleticism. Because Kyrie Irving does all the razzling, dazzling that Derrick Rose do. He just ain't got the athleticism that Derrick Rose. So he's like a poor man, watered down, lukewarm version of Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose was just on another level. He was on another planet. With the way that this guy could break you down. That's why you saw LeBron James. LeBron James was crying for help. Derrick Rose will cross his ass up from the top of the key. LeBron will be looking at guys. He'd be pushing guys. Like, are you going to help me on the defense? This guy's putting me on ESPN Top 10 Live. He's embarrassing me right now. And if you guys remember in that series against the Miami Heat, LeBron had D Wade, him, and Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh had to leave his guy. Derrick Rose would just dump it down there, down low. And Joakim Noah would get quick buckets because they put all 3 guys on Derrick Rose because they couldn't deal with Derrick Rose. Dwayne Wade couldn't deal with him. Dwayne Wade said, man, this guy's too fast. He's breaking my ankles every second. I saw it in the locker room. I saw when they did the inside camp. LeBron was yelling at D Wade, man, your coverage getting blown. D Wade's like, you go guard this dude. You know how fast this dude is, man? That's what D Wade said on the cam, dog. You know you great when great players say that. Thank you, Yusuke Knight. I'm glad you remember that too, dog. Yusuke always remember everything, dog. That's my day one right there, dog. Hey, man, Dwayne Wade looked at LeBron. They were yelling at each other, and he told LeBron, I can't guard this dude, man. This dude too fast. And then he told LeBron, why don't you go guard? And then when LeBron came back to D Wade and said, yeah, I see what you were saying, man. He was embarrassing guys on the basketball court that much. Tom Thibodeau, going back to Gideon's point, Tom Thibodeau's to blame, Rich, even though he's working Derrick Rose into shape. Tom Thibodeau was the worst. Because when you have a workhorse like that, I don't care if you're working him back into shape. You up 12 points. Gideon made a hell of 5 points. You up 12 points, and you're going to sit there and not sit him out the rest of the game. Why do you think I love Phil Jackson so much? Phil Jackson saved Kobe from Kobe. The Achilles that Kobe ended up having in the 17th season, if Phil Jackson did not save Kobe from himself, Kobe would have had this shit by the 14th season, the 13th season. When Kobe dropped those 81 points, hey, let's go, man. Time to get out the damn game. Kobe was trying to break Will Chamberlain. Nah, man. Even though he was going to break Will Chamberlain, what would have happened in him breaking Will Chamberlain's record? See, Phil always knew, okay, enough is enough. You can't be wearing yourself out like that. And Phil said that in his book. He had to stop Kobe from Kobe. But Mike D'Antoni didn't stop Kobe from being Kobe. You know what ended up happening? Kobe ended up having an Achilles heel, right? That's what ended up happening. Because Mike D'Antoni let Kobe just go off and do whatever he wanted to, didn't put limiters on him and put restrictions on him, knowing that Kobe Bryant had previous injuries, the knee injuries, all these other injuries where he had to go and get that blood transfusion to put to put life back into his knees and all that. Kobe had so many other injuries, man. But he didn't know how to just taper him off and tell him, look, man, we need you to stop right now. So that's what happened. And Tom Thibodeau's to blame. If I see Tom Thibodeau, I'm going to slap him. If I see him in public, I'm going to slap him. That's how much he's to blame. How you going to sit there, have a guy that you was up 12 points, and then you ruin this guy's basketball career because you want to sit here and have him on the floor the whole time? If I see that guy in public, I'm going to slap him. That's how mad I am just talking about this. If you're a D Rose fan, if you see Tom Thibodeau, you should slap him too. That's how mad I am about this, man. Now I'm not condoning violence or anything. I'm just saying. Now let's get on to the last topic, man. LeBron James, dog. LeBron James was feeling some type of way about Kyrie Irving and Richie Rich laughing, man. You know I would do it too. LeBron James feeling some type of way about Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, man. And he said, oh, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, they hurt my feelings, man. They hurt my feelings, man. I was hurt by what they said. What's your take on that, man? Why LeBron James always got to do his 27th law of power plea? And why his LeBron tars always got to come out the woodworks to defend him? And so much so that when LeBron said that, they started going on soliloquies of, oh, well, you see, Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, they both missed game winners. Do you know how many game winners you brain full of mush and brainwashed dodo heads that Kobe Bryant missed? Do you know how many game winners you brain full of mush and brainwashed dodo heads that Michael Jordan missed? Didn't Michael Jordan say it in a famous commercial? I failed so many times, and that's why I succeed. Yeah, Michael Jordan got 26 game winners. Kobe got 27 game winners, but they probably checked up 1,000 for them shits. But nobody cares about those thousands that they checked up. They care about the game winners that they made. So when Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant miss game winners, and that's your credibility, that's your credence to say, oh, well, you see, they're getting exposed. A lot of these people don't know basketball, Richie Rich. They have a similitude of basketball, but they lack the fullness thereof. This is the beginning of the NBA season, man. Kevin Durant has not played for 300-plus games. Kyrie Irving has not gotten a chance to ingratiate a system with Kevin Durant, and they got a new head coach. All of these people are prisoners of the moment. They expect you to give greatness personification in one season. What happened when LeBron James went over to the Los Angeles Lakers? Yeah, I'm going to get on his ass. You remember what happened that first year? And he got the dose of the Wild Wild West. All the excuses, all his LeBron tars came up with every excuse. His psychologist. Wait. How is a psychologist someone who could diagnose your physical ailments or your physical extremities? I didn't know they could do that. His psychologist said he should have sat out for 6 months with the injury. You're a psychologist, so you're not qualified to talk about people's bodies. You need someone that's qualified to do that. A doctor that's qualified to deal with physical extremities. They made all the excuses for why LeBron James, who played in a Rudy Pool and a Plum Plum Brain, a classic though in the Troglodyte Eastern Conference, but you went to 8 straight finals. GOAT James, the GOAT James. He's 50-plus-year-old man, the GOAT James. 8 straight NBA finals in a weak-ass Eastern Conference. What happened when he got to the Wild Wild West? The Wild Wild West. What happened when he got there? He got exposed. But they made every excuse in the book. Oh, but he ain't got no other superstar. But I thought LeBron James could take, he could take a Hobbit and go to the NBA Finals. That's what they told us. He could take a Hobbit and go to the NBA Finals. What happened to that? But he got exposed. Every excuse in the book. Brooklyn Nets play a few games, and now everybody's saying, well, they got exposed. They're not going to win the finals. The Kyrie Irving, they need to trade him. Are you freaking kidding me? These open and secret LeBron talks, all of them, every last one of them. And I revealed them all for who they are, at their truest and their most prosperous levels. Because you will know them by the fruit that they bear. But when we sit here and we look at Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, they need time to gel. Anyone that knows basketball knows this. The regular season is positioning basketball. You need that time for you to build your wherewithals, to build your faculties together, to get your chemistry down. And then once you get that all together, then you can sit there and have an actual basketball team. And then we're not talking real regular season play until after the All-Star break. Wasn't basketball defined like this? What happened to that standard? After the All-Star break, this is when teams start taking stuff seriously. Does that sound like real basketball conversation that we used to talk back in the days, folks? You remember that conversation we used to kind of talk? Teams start getting real serious after the All-Star break, and then after the All-Star break, that's when teams start really trying to position themselves for what real season are they positioning themselves for? The NBA playoffs, where legends are made. The NBA pantheon, the NBA finals, where pantheon of greatness is denoted. These are the real seasons, man. Everything else is Rudy Poo and Plum Plum Brain. Everything else is classic Dodie and Troglodyte. Everything else is ultra fanboy with the ultra fanboy rhetoric. When we see and look at the regular season, it's positioning basketball, man. Because you got to position yourself for the real season, which is the NBA playoffs and the NBA finals. But LeBron want to feel some type of I would hurt. And then all of his LeBron tars came right behind you. You see Kyrie Irving, you had Kevin Durant, they're not agreeing, they're not gelling. Da, da, da. But they didn't say nothing about the Los Angeles Lakers when they got done up the first year. It's a things that make you say, It's a things that make you say, Let us talk about these double standards, man. That's associated with LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers their first year, and the Brooklyn Nets their first year, and LeBron making his little plea to say, I felt hurt what Kevin Durant told me. I felt hurt what Kyrie Irving told me. What's your take on
Yeah, I mean, LeBron James, he knows that as we were talking about this topic, somewhat of this topic last in the last show, where how LeBron knows how to uh, have the media sway over to his side, and he was trying to do that, especially when he said that he was hurt what Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving said about him in a way to where he wants these people to have some type of empathy for him. Like why are Kyrie and Kevin Durant saying these things about me? You know what I'm saying? Especially when I don't want a championship, and stuff like that. Now the media is gonna try to make Kyrie and Kevin Durant look bad in the light now, because
that?
especially with Kyrie having that history with LeBron, they won a championship together with the Cavs. He played with LeBron, and the media is going to spin it to where Kyrie Irving is backstabbing LeBron. He's saying these things about LeBron. He's saying that Kevin Durant is a better clutch shooter, than LeBron James, and he won a title with LeBron. Why would he say that? Why would he talk about like throw that sneak diss at LeBron like that? And I don't think Kyrie's throwing a sneak diss. I just think that he knew that it came down to him in those finals in 2016. Someone had to make that shot, and he was the one to make it, man. So he feels that he's in position to say something like that, because it wasn't LeBron that took the shot. J.R. Smith didn't pass the ball to LeBron James. He passed that thing to Kyrie Irving, and because he was like, okay, LeBron, man, he's not a guy you can trust in these situations. We need to close these boys out. This is Game 7, and Kyrie Irving, man, they can't stop this guy. You know what I'm saying? And if we need somebody to decide this game, we need Kyrie Irving to hit the shot. He got that ball to Kyrie Irving. And Kyrie Irving hit that shot over Stephen Curry. And that solidified the game right there. You know what I'm saying? So, Kyrie Irving, he's a guy who's highly confident in his abilities. And he knows what he's capable of doing on the floor. You know what I'm saying? If he knows he could be that guy that hit big time shots to be counted on in those type of moments. So it's not a dig at LeBron James. He's talking from experience. He played with LeBron, and he knew he had to be the guy to step up big time for them to actually close out the Warriors. It didn't matter if LeBron put up those numbers. If Kyrie Irving didn't do what he did, they weren't going to beat the Warriors point blank. That's what it came down to. And Kyrie took the big ball shot, the big cojones shot to decide the series. He's seen Kevin Durant do that from afar, playing on opposite opposing teams. He knows what Kevin Durant can do. He knows Kevin Durant is what they call him. That's KD, man. That's the Kevin Durant, the servant. The Slim Reaper. That's Kevin Durant's thing, man. This is a dude that you gotta hope that he misses. Once he gets that ball up, you gotta hope that Kevin Durant misses. You're at his mercy. You know what I'm saying? So Kyrie Irving is just speaking from experience of what he's experienced, what he's done, and what he's seen KD do. It's not a dig at LeBron James. You know, the media shouldn't try to twist it, and LeBron shouldn't try to twist the media or his fans and thinking that okay, they're trying to diss him. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I think LeBron is trying to do, and you know he tried to do it cleverly, but you know for those that know what's going on, we know that those you know they aren't trying to do that. Especially Kyrie Irving came out and said that see y'all trying to pit two brothers against themselves, you know by starting this stuff. You know what I'm saying? And you know Kyrie Irving knows exactly because that's what the media do, especially with Black American athletes, you know. So
Mm-hmm.
Kyrie Irving said that y'all want to pit each other against ourselves, and I wasn't even saying stuff like that, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So he had to. This is why Kyrie is the way he is with the media, man. So uh, because that's what they do. They try to pit guys against each other, even though you know he wanted to be his own guy. He didn't want to play with LeBron anymore. It's not
Mm-hmm.
a thing where he has a hatred for LeBron. He just feels that you know he could do more playing without LeBron James. He could be his own guy. He could be
Mm-hmm.
successful too, being somewhere else. You know what I'm saying? Doing his thing because he's just like Kobe Bryant and Shaq. Kobe was very confident in his ability, and
Yep.
he always was fine playing a number two role. But at some point, you want to branch out from that role.
Facts.
You want to be more than just the number two. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you know what you're capable of.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't not Kyrie on wanting more for himself. You know, don't get it twisted now. So LeBron James, man, he's trying to will and deal with work. You know, like go into overtime, have that media like paint these guys in a bad light, but it's not going to
Mm-hmm.
work for
Yep.
those that truly know, you know what's going on in this type of situation.
Mm-hmm.
But it's going to work with his fans. It's going to work with his sycophants because they've been waiting for this moment to
Mm-hmm.
win for LeBron to show that he can win another championship, a bubble title as we called it. And you
Yep.
saw them all come out the woodwork once LeBron won that championship. And LeBron had that interview not too long ago and was getting all his stuff off his chest. You know how he
Mm-hmm.
felt about this situation, how he felt about that situation, and that's what
Facts.
LeBron always does. You know, especially when he won that back-to-back championship, and he
Mm-hmm.
started making those crazy statements about he deserved to be on the Mount Rushmore after winning a championship, a back-to-back championship. And I thought it was asinine. It was ridiculous for him to say a comment like that. That's how
Mm-hmm.
LeBron is. LeBron, I deserve my respect after he won the title with the Lakers. I like what respect do you deserve winning a bubble championship?
Mm-hmm.
You really didn't go. You didn't really didn't face anybody. Did you play against Durant? Did you
Yep.
play against Kawhi? Although
There you
Kawhi
go.
and didn't get it done, he didn't really face real competition in those finals. And
There
it
you
was
go.
a situation where they had no fans in the stadium. They didn't travel. They
Mm-hmm.
played in a situation where, and he's a guy who's at an advanced age. He's 35 years old. The travel, the fans, that would have had an effect on him. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? It would
Yep.
have had an effect on other players. That's when it really is a fair advantage. When teams, you got to go in a team's building and you got to deal with their crowd and you got to overcome that. He didn't
Yep.
ever overcome that. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was in a pretty much a pick was in a pickup stadium, a pickup gym with no fans. Man, they all played, but some guys you could see that they weren't as excited as other guys. There was guys that just didn't want to be there, man, because
Facts.
some guys were worried about the whole virus thing. Some guys were worried about their families, man. Got not all a lot of guys weren't worried about basketball at that point, you know, and
Facts.
that's something we can't allude from. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody gave themselves to that bubble. You know,
Yep.
LeBron did because he knew it was a advantageous situation for himself. If he won a championship, he would be able to further his legacy, uh, uh, up his brand, up his name, up his reputation. And he was like, okay, I gotta push for this. I gotta
Yep.
make sure Adam Silver co-signs us coming back and playing to make sure I win that championship.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron, you saw LeBron on his Twitter. on or his Instagram. He kept pushing for it. He was like, he heard somebody came out and said, oh, they're not gonna have the NBA. They're not gonna continue with it. LeBron will go and make a comment. Don't say that. We working on it right now. We're gonna
Fact.
make sure we have this season. We're gonna close out this season, and
Fact.
we're gonna make sure this season is decided. Because LeBron James knew this is the perfect opportunity for him to win and for him
Exactly.
to show that he could win another championship and do it as a
Exactly.
member of the Lakers because it benefits him. You
Yep.
know, LeBron is all about himself, man. You know, it's just
Yep.
how he is. He's a
Yep.
narcissistic, opportunistic guy. You know,
Yep.
AD was doing all of this. I recall AD saying that if we win the championship next year, he's gunning for the Finals MVP. LeBron gave this dude that look like, boy, hell now, you ain't getting nothing. Like I'm gonna win all these Finals MVPs. I ain't
Yeah.
giving you because I know it improves my legacy. So
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Davis, man, that it just shows how greedy LeBron James is, man, and
Mm-hmm.
how much of a self-centered person he is, because he
Good
knows
point.
stuff like this. He's trying to use this because he knows, like, because these are the arguments that we talk about in basketball between great players, especially great players who've went to championships,
Mm-hmm.
who's got the MVPs. LeBron's looking at it like, okay, he has to get if he's in a position to win, he's got to get as many of these awards as possible because it's only going to keep him in the talks. It's going to keep him in those conversations. So he's looking at AD. He's trying to use AD for what he is. He's not going to let AD get these awards on him.
Yep.
So AD kind of
And he's
messed up
dumb
in
enough
that
to
situation.
fall for
He's
it.
dumb enough to fall for it. LeBron's going to
Mm-hmm.
use him to make sure he gets as many accolades as he can, because
Mm-hmm.
he's trying to fool people into thinking that he's on the level of Michael Jordan. You know what I'm saying? That's what he's trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
But us real basketball enthusiasts know that he don't even come close, man. You can't even put him in the same breath with MJ. I wouldn't put him in the same breath as Kobe, man, because we already know Kobe's resume, man. Kobe's one of the greats. Never took shortcuts. Always showed that he could win without Shaq. In fact,
There
Kobe
you go.
loved challenges. LeBron
Mm-hmm.
don't love challenges, man. Kobe showed me that he loved challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Players like that, I respect him. I respect the hell out of
That's
players
it.
like that. A
That's
player
it.
that's willing to take on a challenge, man, head first, and they gonna listen, man. They gonna leave it all on the floor. That's who Kobe was. He's not a
Mm-hmm.
guy that's scared. LeBron is a guy that's scared. He's a shortcut taker.
Yep.
Once I know you a shortcut taker, man, listen, man. He knows to tell you, man. I look at you different, man. I can't
Yep.
put you in the same breath as those great
True.
players.
That's
It's
true.
just who I am. I'm just not. You got all these
Yep.
people saying this guy is the GOAT. They're saying that he is the franchise. There was this person that a few weeks ago that said LeBron James is the franchise. How is this man the franchise when he keeps leaving everywhere to go form a super team and
Exactly.
getting a superstar, acquiring super? This man is not the franchise. He's lost more than he's won. How is he the franchise? Like there's too many LeBron brigade out there, man, spitting false nonsense, man, and it needs to
Mm-hmm.
be extinguished because
Yep.
this guy is a farce, man. For what he's brought to the game, he's hurt the game more than he's helped the game
Facts.
because he's shown that you could take these shortcuts, and now he
Yep.
got these era players thinking the same way. It's about looking out for you. Hey,
Yep.
I don't have no problem with these players looking out for themselves. It's
Yep.
their bodies that are on the line. You know what I'm saying? Do what you want to do, but don't ask to be put on the same breath as the great players before you, because those guys did it harder. That's all I'm asking. Don't put
Mm-hmm.
yourself on that level because you weren't willing to take on the challenge. You were willing to take the easy way out. That's
Mm-hmm.
that's all I gotta say.
Man, you hit it on the thumb. You hit it on the needle, man. LeBron James is everything that everybody that knows basketball, real G's, super real G's, ultimate real G's out here in these basketball streets. Like Marcus M just said, LeBron played in one of the weakest conferences of all time. And Joel Hayward said LeBron needs all-star teams to win titles. Michael and Kobe didn't win that didn't need that. Didn't need that to win their titles. Look, man, Kobe Bryant played with Smush Parker. He played with Kwame Brown. Don't get me started, man. These are the people that he played with. And Kobe Bryant, Luke Walton, and he had to figure it out. And in his championship years, these are not players that if LeBron had, LeBron would be complaining. Kobe has Sasha Vujacic. Let this marinate in your corpus callosum and in your cerebellum. Let this marinate in your medulla oblongata. He had Jordan Farmar. He had Shannon Brown. This is what Kobe had. Andrew Bynum, who one of the bus kids was trying to usurp Kobe over Bynum. They were saying it's going to be Bynum's team, which was laughable in of itself. And Kobe had to constantly bail their ass out. Andrew Bynum, look who he ended up becoming, one of the biggest buses the NBA's ever seen. Paul Gasol, Lamar Odom, Trevor Ariza. This is what they had. If LeBron James had this, LeBron would be pulling his hair out. Where's my D Wade? Where's my Chris Bosh? This is the biggest lie they've ever told you when they told you that LeBron James was the chosen one, when in actuality he was the frozen one. The biggest lie they ever told you is when they made you believe that LeBron James didn't do the weakest move. They always trying to label that shit on Kevin Durant because they got to label it on Mr. Anti-LeBron, the one that back-to-back LeBron James. He draked him. He draked his ass. He Drake Meek Mill his ass, man. He back-to-back his ass, though. You got to accept it, man. Just like that song Back-to-Back. I like Meek Mill, though, but, hey, that song, you know when you got hurt. You know when you get ether, though. You know when you get murked. You play that back-to-back, Meek Mill somewhere crying, though. Hey, and I'm not the biggest Drake fan, dog. But you play that back-to-back, Meek Mill somewhere crying, dog. He got back-to-back, man. That's what Kevin Durant did to LeBron James, dog. He back-to-back him. Just like Hkhs Sport been doing the fire marshal bill, dog. Always creating fires, but never putting out the smoke. You see that name stuck? Everybody saying, man, he knows you done been goaded since you done flamed up fire marshal bill, but that name sticks. Because you got a lot of people out here creating a lot of fires, but never putting out the smoke, man. They don't have the ability to put out the smoke, but they want to create fires. And this one right here was the leader of the secret LeBron-tards. LeBron-tards are bad in of itself. Secret LeBron-tards are worse because they are secretive. Their agenda is all about being a LeBron-tard, man. And Hkhs Sport told you guys this stuff. You will know them by the fruits that they bear. If you keep talking good about LeBron, you keep celebrating the fact that the purple and gold done turned the participation award era shit. That's what it turned into, man. It ain't good no more. Purple and gold is not a good brand no more. Any brand that LeBron go to, the brand turns into the shit. Let me say it again. Any brand that LeBron goes to, the brand turns into the shit. Purple and gold is not the same no more, man. They lost everything. Jerry Buss is somewhere in his grave, turning his grave right now. I'm telling you, the brand done turned to shit or less shit. But when we sit here and we look at Kevin Durant, they say he made the weakest supposed move. But didn't LeBron James go and colluded to get Dwayne Wade, colluded to get Chris Bosh? And then let me tell you why this was so weak. Because Kevin Durant was begged to go to Golden State Warriors. See, they don't tell you the truth. They tell you their truths, right? Which is a half truth. And what is a half truth? It's a lie. Kevin Durant could have went and played with the Cleveland Cavaliers. He could have went and played with the Los Angeles Clippers. He could have went and played with the Miami Heat. He had options. He could have stayed with the OKC. He had options, y'all. But LeBron James basically realized he couldn't get it done as the main cog on the Cleveland Cavaliers. So he had to bend the effing knee. He had to kiss the damn ring like they do with the Pope. And he had to go play with Dwayne Wade. And Dwayne Wade had to be his mental therapist, his psychologist, along with Pat Riley, to get him to the next level. People don't think. You see, that's why I said my people are destroyed for a lack of knowledge, man. Y'all don't even remember y'all own NBA history. This is what happened with LeBron James. You remember he had the quick game against the Boston Celtics? And then he walked off. I knew when he walked off, like, this motherfucker ain't coming back to Cleveland. I knew it. I said it. I said he ain't coming back. And not all those Cleveland fans burning up the jersey. They should have burned up the jerseys the second he walked off. Because he was not coming back. And then his dumb ass, he always sound like he know how to articulate himself. And for this summer, I'm gonna take my talents to South Beach. Shut your ass up. You don't even sound right. And this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach. This dude try to sound so educated to where he sounds stupid. I mean, he just sounds stupid, though. Like the big L stupido, man, Shaquille O'Neal. And this fall, I'm gonna take my talents. Like we didn't know you were gonna do that. Like we didn't know you and Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh was colluding. We didn't know this was happening when y'all was doing this all throughout the season. Like we couldn't tell. We couldn't put two and two together. But they tell you the biggest lie that Kevin Durant had the weakest move, when in actuality the weakest move was LeBron James, because he was colluding with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh, tampering or left tampering like nobody's business. I tell you, man, they give LeBron James another set of rules, man. Another set of rules. He's governed by another set of rules. And the sad part about it is his LeBron tards are too brain full of mush and brainwashed dodo heads. They're not even telling you the damn truth, because they couldn't tell you the truth about this. I mean, it's pathetic, man. It's beyond pathetic. But he is on the levels with Michael Jordan. He leapfrogged Kobe Bryant. Come on, man. It's a things that make you say, hmm. It's a things that make you say, hmm. Richie Rich, I'm done with talking LeBron, man. Let's get to the bonus round, man. Let's talk Russell Westbrook, though. Russell Westbrook, man, didn't bend the effing knee, and he didn't kiss the ring while he was at it, though. Hey, y'all know y'all don't like when I say that term, but it's the truth. In life, somebody got to bend the knee to somebody. Somebody got to kiss the ring to somebody. Somebody got to be, so basically what I'm saying is somebody got to be, salute to you, Coach Carter. Somebody got to be subservient to another person. That's what I mean when I say that. Ain't no, there ain't, like Meek Mill said, there's levels to this stuff. There's gifts. Everybody's not on the same level, man. Everybody don't bang the same chick. Everybody don't make the same money. Everybody don't live in the same house, man. There's levels. That's what Meek Mill said in the song, and it's the truth. There's levels and there's gears. And the gears is as simple as this. Russell Westbrook didn't know his place. Russell Westbrook is like a dude or a chick that constantly goes from relationship to relationship to relationship, marriage to marriage to marriage, constantly fail, and then they keep acting like it's everybody else but not them in the room. But they don't want to look at the elephant in the room and look at the translucent or transparent image and say that I'm the freaking problem. That's Russell Westbrook, man. He left OKC. He went to the Houston Rockets. What happened? It's the things that make you say, hmm. He left Houston Rockets. He went to Washington. Bradley Beal calling his ass out right now, man. Bradley Beal is sunning him right now, though. Bradley Beal is like, I'm not passing the ball to you. I'm going to drop 60. Bradley Beal said that John Wall was better than Russell Westbrook, though. Woo! It's the things that make you say, though. It's the things that make you say, man. And when I sat there and I made that video way back and I said, the John Wall, this was like a downgrade where Russell Westbrook went and played with the Washington Wizards, and it was an upgrade for John Wall to be with the Houston Rockets. Look what's going on right now. Upgrade. Didn't Beyonce say that? Let me upgrade you. That's what happened. It was an upgrade, man. Russell Westbrook doesn't understand, and it's a life lesson that he needs to learn. You reap what you sow. You did not know your role with Kevin Durant. See, this is what I try to tell people with basketball. Basketball has a hierarchy. If you don't follow the hierarchy of basketball has a funny way of humbling you. There's option ones. There's option twos. There's an option three, and then there's the sum of all parts. Russell Westbrook didn't understand that he was an option two all along, because he was too busy trying to compete with Derrick Rose. You remember that, Richie Rich? He thought he was on the same level with Derrick Rose. And now he's learning that as the option two that he is, that he's going to keep learning these lessons. While Kevin Durant keeps increasing, he's going to keep decreasing. This is what basketball is at the highest levels, man. You got to know your hierarchy, and you got to know. It's like in boxing with Spence and Crawford. Spence don't know that he's the B-side. This is so funny to me. When you're not doing B-side, when you're doing B-side numbers, some people are allergic to the truth. So how does this contextualize back into basketball? Russell Westbrook is continuously feeling the fate that he's feeling because he didn't understand that he had it all with Kevin Durant. They should have had one or two titles in OKC if Russell Westbrook would have played his role the way he was supposed to. But because he didn't do that, Russell Westbrook now, his career is literal SHIT. What's your take on it, man?
Yeah, man, I agree, man, about Russell Westbrook. He's going into a situation where he had Kevin Durant, man, and he thought that he was a better player than Kevin Durant. He's a
Mhm.
very hard-headed player, very uh, tunnel-driven player. Like he's got a tunnel-driven mindset. He's only focused on his like whatever's interesting to him. He's only focused on that. He's tunnel-driven,
Yep.
and he wasn't doing things that were the betterment of that OKC team by making Kevin Durant understand that Kevin Durant is the guy, and he is supposed to be number two to Kevin Durant. But yet
Mhm.
he played opposite. He thought he had Kevin Durant uh, looking at him, be the guy to try to do things down the stretch, and Kevin Durant was supposed to be the guy to have that ball in his hands, and it just didn't work out because
Mhm.
Russell Westbrook is a hard-headed player. You know what I'm saying? Like Kobe would describe Westbrook as there's a guy who has my mindset, but he doesn't have my skill set. You know, uh,
Woo!
pretty much. Yeah, he has my mindset, but he doesn't have my skill set.
Yes, sir.
Because what Westbrook, we see it now. Russell Westbrook. As soon we all were talking about it. As soon as his athleticism starts to flame out, his game is gonna get exposed more and more and more and more. Now, man, he just doesn't have it. He's getting these injuries, and now he's on a team where he shouldn't even be on a team like that because that's a losing basketball team. They've been losing games with Bradley Beal in that lineup ever since last season and the season before. John Wall, he was out with his Achilles heel, and that team turned into a dumpster fire a team. They've had two bad seasons ever since Wall went out, and the franchise they decided to trade Wall for Westbrook, and it's looking like that move is not going to work because Westbrook doesn't fit with Bradley Beal.
Yep.
And we're seeing Westbrook uh, body started to break down because he's missed the past few games. But
Yep.
even with him being on the floor, they've been losing games. They've been losing games to teams they should be winning against. I
Yep.
understand the games that they're losing to against the better teams like the Celtics,
Mhm.
the Nets.
Mhm.
Actually, they beat the Nets. They were able to beat the Nets, but
Mhm.
they struggled to beat the Nets. They came down and Kevin Durant missed the game-winning shot.
Mhm.
So you got to give them that. They were able to get their first win on the Nets, but in these other games, they've been abysmal, man, and
Mhm.
they're a losing team. Scott Brooks. He isn't that ironic? He started off with Scott Brooks, and now he's back being coach under Scott Brooks again. And Scott
Facts.
Brooks was a coach that gave Westbrook a lot of leeway and get
Yep.
away with a lot of stuff that he was doing on that OKC team when
Yep.
he should have made sure Kevin Durant was the guy
Yep.
to be the one to have the ball in those hands in those defining moments. He was letting
Yep.
Westbrook get away with a lot, but it's ironic that he's finishing his career out with Scott Brooks on a terrible team. And Scott Brooks, he's a terrible coach because this guy doesn't. This guy, it's like uh, he went to a situation where he allowed a losing atmosphere, and he
Mhm.
doesn't know how to balance out. Who's the main guy on the team. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
Like you're looking at this whole situation. Bradley Bill's going and dropping 60-point games, 40-point games. They're still losing. They are
Mhm.
a bad team. There's a bad culture, and now they've allowed Westbrook to go to that team and further infect that team more because Westbrook, he's a stat chaser. He's not really a guy that's worried about winning the game. We've seen that from him for so many years. He's a guy who's worried about his stats. He wants to get these triple doubles. and he wants to be mentioned with guys who've gotten triple doubles like Oscar Robertson. Well, it's not important to Westbrook. We saw it in the bubble, man, when he was with Harden. Westbrook was making boneheaded plays. He's not a player you can count on in the clutch because he always does a stupid, dumb, boneheaded mistake in the clutch. Either he turns over the basketball or he shoots a bad shot, and he has his team he costs his team a win. But James Harden, him teaming up with James Harden was not going to be a good fit anyway because both
Mhm.
those guys, you can't count on any of those guys. So we knew that was going to be a bad fit from the start. But now he's on an even worse team, and now whatever's left of his career is going to be wasted on a trash team like the Wizards. And Bradley Beal is suffering for it because there's a guy who's in his prime right now and he's being wasted away on a team like that. And
Mhm.
it's like he's stuck in purgatory. I believe they shouldn't have traded for Wall. They let Wall go, and they took on a worse player because John Wall is at least knows how to play within the flow of the offense. John Wall needs the ball in his hand, but
Yep.
he's not no guy that bounces the heck out of the ball. He doesn't make boneheaded plays. He's a guy he knows how to create for others, and it's within the flow of their offense.
There you
Russell
go.
Westbrook can't do that. You know what I'm saying? It's like he's trying to force assists, force
Fact.
passes to players, and he does it in a situation where it's not seamless. It doesn't look like it's in the flow of the offense.
Yep.
And we've seen that we're looking at John Wall and the Rockets right now. And John Wall, you can tell he's been working on his game. He's hitting outside shots. To
Mhm.
where before when he was on the Wizards, he was a nightmare, but he couldn't really hit that consistent jumper. But
Yep.
as a member of the Rockets now, since he's been gone with his injury, you could tell he's been working on his jump shots. He looks like a
Mhm.
better jump shooter. Russell
Yep.
Westbrook, it's a shame. Russell Westbrook used to have some type of mid-range shot. I remember his earlier days in OKC, but it went away. I don't know. He probably didn't work on it. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't a guy who took
It was
that part of it.
struggle. It was struggle at best. Even
Yeah,
when he had his trouble, it was struggle, man. Because when he was on, but when he was off, that
yeah.
shit was.
He was a streaky good player, but now it's just this guy. You don't want this guy taking a jump shot, man. You don't want
Mhm.
this guy having the basketball at all. You want him. It's like he's a waste of a player, man. There's a guy who could have seriously been a lot more serious about his game, man. Like this is what these generation of players are gonna turn into. A lot of these
Yep.
guys, because a lot of them don't take the game serious. They
Yep.
don't take the game serious. They don't expand their games. They think that they're fine. They could get ahead with
Yep.
what they already have in their arsenal, and yet
Yep.
this is what happens to their careers, man. Russell Westbrook is at a stalemate, man. He's at a
Mhm.
crossroads now. He's on a trash team, and his athleticism is almost all the way gone,
Yep.
and he can't do anything to help this team. There's a guy who won the MVP, but yet he looks completely different from that guy that won that award. I don't know, man. Russell Westbrook, bro. It's like I I think he's a couple seasons away from being out of the league. That's how bad this situation is. Because this is a situation where he could have went into this franchise and he could have turned things around. He could have had them winning games or being above 500 and show that he's still a productive guy. But there are 1-7, 1-7 right now, man. Wow, this is not a good situation for him. And he's playing for his former coach and Scott Brooks. So this makes Scott Brooks look bad. This makes it look like Scott Brooks is going to be out the door by the end of the season. And Bradley Beal is going to be asking for a trade. So he signed that extension. I don't know why he did that. But he that dude, man, these players, listen, you go from Kevin Durant to James Harden. Now you playing with Bradley Beal, man. That's like a step down, man. That's regression after regression after regression, bro. It's a messed up situation all around for Westbrook, man. Yeah. And the sad thing is, this is what he wanted. This is what he wanted. He's like one of those players, man. He got fired. Everything is burning all around him, And he's still saying, you know what, this is fine. The whole damn house is burning, and he's like, this is fine.
Listen, man, just like light him up the ball one with the LaMelo Ball. People got to learn, man. He knows the sport. Those are the prediction king fashions that I love. Delay reaction, like Lomachenko and Teofimo Lopez. You don't see how I'm looking so good right now. When everybody was in their feelings, they put feelings over facts, and I put facts over feelings. You see how I'm looking so good right now? I told you, delay reaction. I love prediction king. I always get my prediction king, almost always get it immediately. But I love the delayed one because I love to rub it in even more when it comes later on, man. And I'm telling you right now, LaMelo Ball smoke and mirrors. Right now, you being a prisoner of the moment, light them up the ball. You like some smoke and mirrors athletes, dog. First, you said leave my boy James Harden alone. I don't know, man. When it comes to basketball, you gonna have to get proselytized over here, dog. You giving me James Harden and LaMelo Ball. These are smoke and mirrors basketball players. You gonna have to step your basketball game up, bro. You gonna have to step it up. You told me James Harden. Leave my boy James Harden alone. That's a smoke and mirrors basketball player. Leave my boy LaMelo. You gonna find out. Look at Lonzo Ball. They were saying the same nonsense you telling me about LaMelo Ball. They were saying about Lonzo, and I was telling everybody, "Hey, you better get off that edge. You better get off that ledge. You better get off that ledge before if you don't get off that ledge, I'm telling you." And look what's happening right now. This dude is smoking mirrors, man. He's smoking mirrors. You could tell because you know them by the fruit that they bear. He's giving you a similitude of a basketball player, but he's lacking the fullness thereof. Say it again. He's giving you the similitude of a basketball player that you think is great, but he's lacking the fullness thereof. He's not what you think he is, man. And time will tell. See, these are one of those prediction king fashions that you got to let the time tell so that I could come in, light him up the bomb a year or 2 years from now and rub it in your face because I'm going to rub it in. Everybody knows me. When it's time for me to rub it in, I'm going to rub it in, and it might be a series. What you just did is you created maybe 100-part series on LaMelo Ball on why he knows his sport. Going to rub it in when the time comes of him being a smoke and mirrors basketball player. Yeah, you just created that. Now, Richie Rich, back onto your point with Russell Westbrook. I like everything you said so eloquently because it was the truth. And what people have to understand is Russell Westbrook is the chickens have come to roost. Malcolm X made a great term when he said the chickens have come to roost. The chickens have come to roost with Russell Westbrook. And until Russell Westbrook comes to the reality, the undeniable reality that he is the problem, he's going to keep suffering that fate. Because the good book tells us you reap what you sow. And what he did not reap, which was a harvest at that time, was the fact that he had a 50, 40, 90 walking gazelle. He had a Slim Reaper on the basketball court that was alongside him. All he had to do was bend the effing knee, kiss the ring while he was at it, and be the option two. That's it. That's it. That was the only thing that was asked of him. And he couldn't even do that. And now he's facing his fate. What people have to understand in life is everyone has levels. The problem with people, Russell Westbrook is suffering a fate that this is plaguing our own people as black people. People don't know how to be option twos to other people's option ones. Everybody can't be the Don Dada, though. It's like Bushmaster told Luke Cage. Two bulls can't reign in one pen. Don Dada's not plural. There can only be one Don Dada, man. One. There can only be one, dog. One. That's a universal term in life, man. You can't have two Don Dadas. That don't even exist. It don't exist. Because numbers tell you it don't exist. Levels tell you it don't exist. Stature tells you it don't exist. When somebody's on a higher level than you, they're on a higher stature than you, they got higher numbers than you, you ain't no Don Dada to that person. You're not even on the same level with them. That's the problem that our people fail to get. And Russell Westbrook is part of that. He failed to get it. So now he has to live with the inept decisions that he's made continuously. So I wanted to basically roast Russell Westbrook because he deserves what he gets. And he deserves it again, and he deserves it again, and he deserves it again until he looks in the mirror and say, I'm the problem. Until he comes to that conclusion, Russell Westbrook continuously deserves what he gets. That's all I got to say with that, man. Richie Rich, close us out.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you, he knows, for bringing me on the platform. Appreciate you all for coming in, chiming in, uh, giving your opinions on what we had to discuss on the show. We went in, talked about some good topics. Based on Curry, KD, LeBron, Russell Westbrook. It was some good topics that we delved into. As the season goes on, we're gonna have more stuff based on the storylines that are coming out, and
Mhm.
I look forward to that. And I look forward to you all coming on. All right. I wish that we had more people to come on the show. To give their viewpoints. You say what they have to say because this is a free thinker show right here. We would like to hear any of you that have an opportunity to come on the show, give your viewpoint. Show your face. And the show will be the show's already live, but we would like for you to come on and make the show a lot more live. So we appreciate you all for coming and coming with your support for the show. Uh, Hopefully, you all can come back next week, and we're gonna have another great show for you. So be easy, take care, and be safe.
There you go. There you go. We appreciate everyone that showed up and showed out. Richie Rich, thank you for your contributions. We appreciate you as always. You came in with that Nas, that ether, that stuff that make your soul burn slow. The chat was live towards the end. Light 'em up, the bomb one. That's my brother when it comes to boxing. But I'm at the school you on basketball, man. Stick around to these basketball videos. I'm telling you, you're gonna be proselytized. You're gonna become not the hard-headed Luke Skywalker. You're gonna be that real school Luke Skywalker. You're gonna be that lethal Luke Skywalker when I'm done with you. But everyone that showed up and showed out, we appreciate y'all. We thank you guys. Appreciate everyone that always takes their time out, shows support to the platform. Yusuke Knight, my day one. This dude right here, I got to give him the biggest salute of the damn day, Doug. This dude been rocking with me since 2013, man. I got to give him credit, man. That's my day one, dog. That's my ride or die, man. But I appreciate everyone. Lewis Sports Network. Make sure y'all check that brother's channel out. That brother's lethal. He's an NBA encyclopedia. Make sure you guys, you know, um, subscribe to the brother's channel, comment, like, and share. Those that are new to the platform that's hearing this live for the first time, subscribe to the platform because we're coming in cold-hearted, we're coming in unadulterated, and we're coming in cutthroat truth teller fashion, man. I'm the ultimate truth teller, man, and that's all. That's all I know. Just telling the truth. I don't know no other way, man. All I know is absolution and resolution. Finstralization has no part over here, man. We have standards over here, and we come in that boldness on top of the standards. So we gave you guys a hell of a live. We gave you guys a hell of a topics. We're gonna come back next week. There's a lot of other things that I'm gonna definitely want to talk about, and I'm gonna leave it to Richie Rich and whoever else that's gonna be on the panel next week, man. We appreciate y'all. Y'all have a great Sunday. Be safe out there, man. You know what I'm saying? Practice your social distancing. Make sure you cleaning your hands 20 seconds. Making sure you guys are very hygienic with yourselves. Making sure you're doing what you got to do. We'll see you guys next week for episode 7 of the Free Thinkers Movement, man. Y'all be easy. Peace.